By the way.
Yeah.
I think we need a on the little headings thing where it has our names and then it says Advantage Airsoft on ours. We need to change yours to Derek's Man Cave or Derek's Attic or something.
One of these days I actually need just to invest and just build out my whole entire thing here. I've got a whole plan, and I just need to do it one of these days.
Yeah.
So it just takes money, as all things do. Actually, I should do some Black Friday shopping and see if I can get a whole setup for cheap.
There you go. Dude, I bet you Amazon's going to have a lot of that stuff up for sale on sale.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go share it. That's what I gotta do.
Yeah, go share. Go share. I've been talking to some people here in the shop, and a lot of them are like, yeah, I can't ever really catch your live stream when it's live, but I always go back and watch it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's nice to hear.
Yeah, I've gone on and looked before, and it's like, oh, this thing has 90 views. I'm like, there's not 90 people watching it.
I know. Yeah, and I think even people don't watch the whole thing. I've heard a lot of people say that they at least watch parts of it and skip through it. So one person's watching?
Yeah.
Or is it you, Derek? Yeah, I'm going to have to...
It's probably me right now.
PVC pipe or something so it doesn't stand out so bad. Wrap it in duct tape or something.
Black electrical tape, something.
I got to make something for my helmet, too, so I can have my helmet there.
My barn, I have a room such the same brightness but red.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd be cool. Ooh. Hi, Blake. Wow, those guns look like they were hung by professionals. It's because I had Blake and Jacob in here. I'm like, here, hold this for a second. And then I went back. I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And then came over, punched a hole in the wall and screwed it in. Yeah. We used
there we go.
Same hangers that we used on the rest of my other gun wall, but these are the last two that I had, the last two sets. So,
dude, what's the history on that gun?
Which one?
On your Noveske. Your Noveske.
Okay, so history of that gun in particular, it's not so much history about the gun, but history about the build, the layout itself. Because back when you and I first met, I got really turned on to those Noveske rails. I was just like, dude, these are freaking awesome rails. They're super rugged. Even the cheap airsoft ones are better made than a lot of actual real steel rails.
Yeah,
and so I really started liking them. I have a collection of all three lengths now. So this is the longest length one, and it's tan. It's not Noveske branded anywhere, but it is a Noveske rail. That rail has been on 6 different guns. Yeah. So that one's been mounted on six different guns. Every single gun that I've had that rail mounted to has been set up exactly the same way. Because that's how I build my rifles, I guess. So every time I want to try a new system, I had the ICS for a while. That was how that was set up. I had my KWA RM4 and LM4 both set up that way. And then I wanted to build this Redline kit, so I used a SEMA Platinum body and just threw everything together. So it's just a solid build. I like that setup. I'm probably going to stick with it. What's funny is I have never actually built my actual rifles out that way. And I just, I don't know why I haven't. I just haven't.
Well, I mean, controls-wise, they're the same. It's just a different rail for the most part.
Yeah, it's just M-LOK instead of Picatinny, which is funny because, I actually prefer the Picatinny rails. I really like them. They're a little heavier, but they're so strong. This rail is ridiculously strong. And it is a little heavier, but not that bad. Who built out that red line? Yeah, it was me, Blake. You know that. Blake's trying to take credit.
I can bring you my MP5 one of these days. It does not work.
Yeah. Well, bring it by like, I don't know, after this weekend. Blake can fix it.
Yeah, I'll just bring it by next time I'm up.
This video is not sponsored by Fixology.
But Fixology.
But if Fixology wants a segment on our local podcast live stream, they can definitely have one. This is a Energizer Jenny, and it's delicious. Okay.
Should we jump into this thing?
Yeah, let's get going. Let's talk about stuff.
First off, as always, if you're watching, if you can like and comment and share this, that'd be awesome to be able to get out to more people.
Yeah. So if you're sharing and liking and watching, we love you, and you are our favorite.
So with that being said, let's jump into upcoming events. We got a bunch coming up, as always.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
So upcoming events. Last week was carbine competition, right? Yeah, this week is pistols. Yep. So we'll have our weekly man versus man shooting steel competition, and that'll be tomorrow night at 7:30. $10. Yep, make sure you come. As usual, I haven't decided yet what the prize is going to be, but I'll probably announce it in the morning when I figure that out. You know what people need? People need BBs. Maybe we'll just give away a bottle of preferred weight BBs.
Not a bad option.
Yeah, we'll think. We'll see what the people have to say.
Everyone needs BBs.
Everybody needs BBs.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's the first thing on the list. Do we have a game officially posted for Saturday?
So we don't have one posted. I'll get that done. We're going to post one up for Saturday. Check in at 9. We'll start playing at 10. We'll do a morning game, morning into 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's starting to get cold, so we've gone back and forth a lot about whether or not we're going to host as many night games. All three of us have been sick. We're going to go back and forth sharing coughs in this frame for the rest of the evening because we can't stop coughing. So we're more than likely we're not planning a night game for this weekend. That being said, Jacob Torres in East Idaho Airsoft was talking about hosting a redneck game either, I think Thursday is what he was saying. And so that'll be like a late afternoon, evening game. So if you want to get your night game fix in, watch for that game. And that'll be redneck. Usually is it $5 redneck or 10?
I think it's 5.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
$5 or $10 at redneck. So East Idaho Airsoft, if you're not already a member of East Idaho Airsoft, make sure you go and request and answer all the questions so you don't get booted. But that's a great place to watch for events coming up.
If you're wanting to go to the redneck game and you don't have night gear, but you want to try it, hit us up. We can rent a Tracer AEG. We can get you outfitted to go play.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Yeah. So as far as I guess soon to be close future, near future, that's the word. Near future events. As far as near future events, that's all that's planned for this week. Next week will be carbine. We have yet to post our next class, but I don't have a class scheduled for this week. However, I think we have one scheduled for next week, and that's supposed to be our CQB 2 class. So CQB 2 is basically the follow-on class to the first CQB class that I did last Thursday, which was a ton of fun. Ammon came. Right?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, and I learned more than I expected to learn.
Wow.
Like, I thought I was better prepared than I really was.
Yeah. It's and the thing is, what I told the class at the beginning is that what's nice about that type of environment and having, like, I don't want this class to be really much bigger than about 10 people at a time. And we had 6 total, so 7 including me. So 6 total students there. And the nice thing is that since it's a small group and we're all just having a good discussion for most of that class, like, I'm doing some teaching, but a lot of the stuff is just guys sharing information back and forth, which is really cool. And I think, like, from my experience as an instructor and as a teacher, that's like where the best learning happens, is when there's a good discussion to facilitate that. That's my objective, is not necessarily to teach and talk, but to facilitate discussion to help people learn. So I feel like a lot of that happened. And then there was a lot of practical application of the stuff that we talked about. We went over, just the basics of having a sling and a holster and how to, move around in your sling and how to do different types of reloads in different types of situations, all the way up to moving as an individual person, going through and around cover and pieing corners and entering thresholds and doing all that assessment up to, like, we even talked about, after you get into some type of a exchange of fire, what should be done after that and how to, like, reassess yourself and make sure you can continue. So it was a good class. Blake asked, what's the CQB2 class going to cover? It's going to be a lot of that same stuff in a little bit more detail, a lot more practical application of those things. And we'll move into like moving with a buddy. So like a 2 or 3 man type of movement. So that's going to be CQB2. So I'm excited. That'll be a fun class. We will get information posted about that as soon as we have it available, but we'll talk more about it next week too. But yeah, I think the only other event to discuss would be the World War II game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's that one's on December 9th. For those who came to the Vietnam game at the island this summer in June, it's going to follow some similar lines of thought. It's very squad based, objective based. You need, as you accomplish objectives, they will either make your game easier or they'll make the other team's game much harder. But it's objective based. I don't want to use the word scavenger hunt, but you're going to have to go find intel, and then that intel is going to direct you to your next mission that you need to take a squad to go fulfill those requirements.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Everybody's able to get, we're being able to get everybody in the field. Everyone's going to have something to do. We'll have some World War II specific challenges and obstacles that they struggled with in the Battle of the Bulge, whether that is a lack of medical supplies, a lack of ammunition. Like, we can throw a lot of different twists into that to make that as a period realistic as possible.
Yeah, kind of immersive. Derek, you went to the Vietnam game, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you like that kind of like objective, like Ammon said, almost like scavenger hunt type gameplay?
It was good. Obviously, I think my favorite thing is that obviously shooting each other is part of the game and it's super fun. Yeah. But I love how in games where you get to a point where that is not the main objective, it is a means to an end, right? It's like I always explain airsoft to people who think it's literally just you like going out and shooting your friends, which sometimes that's all it is. But at the same time, it's really a big chess game. There's a lot of things happening and a lot of things have to go right for you to win, more or less. And so I like when we can stack some of those more complex things within a game because it adds more of that strategy. You have to think through things. It helps a lot to plan. And especially if you're working with guys that where you are able to work together in a really, really good way, then it gets really fun. I love that stuff.
Yeah. That's what, as I guess one of the coordinators for that game, I really liked that we had like very distinct squads and groups, like yours, like you and Braden were running around together most of the time. And I knew like I could jump on the radio when our radios were working because that was part of the immersion with that game. Is sometimes the radios weren't working properly. But I could jump on the radio and say, hey, we just found out that we need this piece of information from this part of the map. Can you go get it? Or can you go cover these guys and provide a diversion while we send these other ones over there to go do this thing? It was like really cool. Like as the coordinator and leader of that whole group, it was really cool to, I guess, be the one playing chess and kind of manipulating those resources and assets to change the game. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
And obviously I was commander of the Vietnam side, and we had a point where Joseph radios us and like, hey, you guys took all of the medical tape. We need to set up our med station. You need to bring it back. I'm like, no, I don't. Actually, play on. Our job is to destroy that as fast as we can. So it's your job now to go figure out go get your intel done so that you can set it back up.
Yeah.
Because it's gone. We take it down.
Yeah. So that's mine and Ammon's goal with this next game, is to make it just as tough and just as like, tough on each other, but also tough for the teams to have to kind of really think through how the whole game is going to go. I mean, you can just go and play it like a regular game of Airsoft and just shoot people for fun, but it's a lot more fun to really kind of get immersed into the problem solving part of it and really, apply yourself and work together. So,
especially the nice thing too is that with the size of the community, it's like you can actually run some pretty complex games. Yeah. In my experience, when you start getting out to the 300, 400, 500 person plus games, there's so many people and there's so many things going on. It's really easy to get lost in all the groups. And so you just don't get the same kind of attention that you would from leadership that you would want, that you experience in our community.
Or the same kind of attention with each other, like yelling back and forth, talking crap to each other in the field because you know who you're shooting at. That's the
other really big thing. I mean, it's always fun to run into some random dude from like Mississippi who you've never met before. You start giving each other crap, but that totally happened. I'll have to post that video one of these days.
Yeah.
Cool. But I love playing at local Milsim events. It's so fun.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll post more details about that specific World War II game as we get closer. Luckily, we're still a little less than a month out, so we've got some time for planning. But there is going to be a sign-up sheet that we're going to be posting pretty soon. It'll be a Google form, just like last time. So make sure to, if you want to sign up, make sure to do that. I know, like, we're going to have the same issue we had with the Vietnam game. Everyone's going to want to be a U.S. soldier. Like, that's just how these games are. So there are like certain incentives for each side. I can tell you, like, the incentives of being, on the Axis side of this game is going to be pretty cool. And it will include even some, I guess we can call them effects. We're going to have lots of effects in this game. I don't know. I want to be kind of careful about how I say that on YouTube specifically, but there will be lots of effects and lots of incentives for people who want to play on the Axis side rather than the Allied side.
Even someone who's clued in on YouTube, I still have no idea what you're getting at, Joseph.
Effects that go boom. Boom effects.
I like boom effects.
Yeah, I'm working with somebody to provide us with some good boom effects and getting all the necessary and legally required permits to do so.
Well, if you weren't planning on going to this game, you better plan on going to this game. It's going to be dope.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So it'll be fun. That's the news for events. Should we move on to some other news, though? We should probably share that news.
Yeah, let's dive into it.
Okay, so you may be wondering, what the heck is Ammon doing here? So
I might still be wondering the same thing.
Yeah, Ammon's like, when did I just get
too late?
You're stuck now. So announcement time. Ammon is now officially part of Advantage Airsoft. Legacy Events and Rentals is now part of Advantage Airsoft. So we have taken our two titans of airsoft companies and merged them together to form an airsoft god. No, so this has kind of been something that's been in the works for a little while, but we all got talking and making plans, and we just kind of all came to the realization that, like, what the heck are we doing? Why are we not already working closer together? We've always worked really closely together, Legacy and Advantage Airsoft. We've always cross-promoted. We've always, advertised together and shared together. So it's like, at this point, we're effectively the same company. So we just made it official, more or less. We tied the knot. Yeah. So that's our announcement for that. Ammon's now an equal owner in Advantage with Derek and I, and we'll continue to work together. So far, it's a pretty good team. I'm liking working together. So for now, what I'll say is, as far as like rentals and games and stuff, we'll probably continue running Legacy in tandem, at least for the next few weeks, is what I would say, while we start that merge process to get everything sorted out. There's a lot of technical and planning stuff that goes into making sure all that stuff flows together nicely. So that is what we're working on right now. So bear with us for right now. Just continue to schedule with Ammon through Legacy for rentals and things like that. Or if you can't find Ammon's information, call us at the shop or send us a message, and Advantage can help you out too. So yeah, that's the news. Ta-da!
Yay!
We need like a confetti effects thing,
I don't think I can do that.
Fireworks and all that. Come on,
fireworks effects.
And anything you want to say?
Sorry, what's that?
Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think it's going to be, like we said, Joseph and I have planned events together. Joseph and Blake helped me run events. Eric's helped me plan events. Like, we've been separate, but together for long enough that at this point it just made sense, and just made sense to bring things together, and we can succeed in a better way if we're all working in the same direction than getting our knots unfrayed because we're pulling in separate ways. So,
and Blake's in the comment section, woot woot, like, yay! Now I have 4 dads. I'm surprised that wasn't his comment right off the start. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be a good partnership. We're excited. And we've got lots of big plans. So keep an eye on social media and all that stuff. We've got a lot of plans and announcements that are coming up over the next little while. Blake says, "Yay, more Christmas presents." Maybe after your year-end performance review, we can talk about that. Cool. So that's, I think, all that we really have as far as news for tonight. So Ammon and I had a couple things we wanted to talk about. We've got some stuff to show and probably some stories to share, right, Derek?
Yeah, we do.
Cool. So, Derek, when was the first time you saw like an injury in airsoft that you remember that stuck out to you?
That Beyond's one, the 4th time I played, I got nailed in the knuckle. That really hurt. Blood blistered right away. That one, I still think about that often. It hurts.
Yeah.
The first injury that I remember seeing, man, might it be, was it Ryan? Might have been Ryan Cocord, if any of you guys were around for him. He got a tooth shot out back in the day. That was at the abandoned house here.
Yeah.
If you remember that, that's probably the first airsoft injury I remember.
Yeah.
That's actually more than just, the standard welts and things like that. But yeah, teeth getting shot out. That's probably the biggest one I'd probably count as an actual injury. Lots of little sprained ankles and stuff, but
yeah. I remember, there's a lot that I can remember, like both that I've like personally endured, but I think the first time I remember not even telling my mom about this, but we were playing at the old Lorenzo boat ramp.
Oh man, that's a minute ago.
Yeah. And which isn't even accessible anymore, which it was a cool field. It was a pretty fun place to play.
That was a fun place to play.
But yeah, we're playing at the old Lorenzo boat ramp, and one of my best friends got his tooth shot out. Yep. Like, his front teeth just got pegged right there and chipped off. And he was like 14 years old. And I remember thinking, gosh, I'm going to take this kid home to his mom, and she's going to be so pissed off at me. But, yeah, and I remember not even telling my mom about it. I thought, man, I've heard a lot of people like say like you can get your tooth shot out. I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was just like a myth, like you were going to shot to the field and BBs are just going to bounce off your teeth, because like teeth are harder than BBs. But yeah, that's like a legitimate. I would say, yeah, a tooth getting shot out is an injury. It definitely does hurt, especially if it's like a really bad fractured tooth. But on top of that, like medically speaking, it's really expensive. Like,
yeah, that's probably one of the top ones. That from an expense standpoint, that's probably one of the most expensive ones from an airsoft in general. It's probably the most common expensive one. It's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah. Do you remember that old video of I can't remember who it was. Some YouTuber posted, had to have been like a decade ago at this point, posted a video of them playing at like an old refinery factory or something. And they took a step on a stairs. It might have even been Desert Fox. I don't remember for sure.
Ooh.
And that step like went through his pant leg and like gouged his knee really bad. And the only thing he had to tape himself up was like black electrical tape. But it worked.
I remember that one. That one was scary, dude.
Yeah. That one was like gruesome enough that like if it got posted to YouTube today, it would get censored. Like it was pretty nasty. Yeah, Blake says that was Desert Fox.
Yeah, here it is. I got it. I found the YouTube video for it.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, that one
share the link in the comments.
There are warnings, so if you are under 18, you talk to your parents.
Yeah, and we don't share this to be like, oh, dude, check out this gruesome video. Like, this is so gross. Like, the reason we want to talk about this topic tonight is because I feel like, from my perspective, there's a certain level of preparation that should go into airsoft, and I feel like part of that preparation is understanding the risks that can take place at events, and doing everything you can to prepare yourself, like physically and with equipment and mentally and training wise, to prevent these types of injuries. So that's why we bring this up. He even talks about in that video, I think I remember him talking about how like the only thing he had was black electrical tape, and that changed his preparation for events after that. He obviously, you'll probably be more careful about where you play, but also like if you plan on playing anywhere and there's a possibility of something like that happening, which some of the places we play around here, there's definitely a possibility for some injury, then you should absolutely prepare yourself at the very least with the equipment that somebody else who's trained to use on you, or even the equipment and training that you need to take care of even a pretty gnarly injury, like a massive gash with pretty severe bleeding.
It's probably the worst thing that you could. I guess Out of the Island is pretty well manicured, and the Midway's getting that way. The worst you're going to get is a gash from something weird.
Yeah,
that's probably the worst thing you're going to see at our fields. But it's going to take some effort to get anything like that. It's not like you need to be super concerned about that. But being prepared for those things if they do arise is definitely worthwhile doing.
Yeah, that's every time we have an event. I wouldn't say that I don't sleep, but that is pretty high on my worry list. So before I did airsoft, way back in the day, I was paintballing. I was probably 12, and my cousin was fogging up, just like we do with airsoft, wearing a paintball mask. And he took his mask off to wipe the fog down, and he took a shot straight to the eye with a paintball. And he went through multiple cornea surgeries.
Jeez.
His pupil to this day is shaped like can't say a true star, but similar to a star. His pupil's completely deformed. Now he has, he lost vision in that eye, not entirely. They were able to hold on to enough of his vision and use corrective lenses. But it was, from a 12-year-old perspective, that was completely traumatic to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember being like, if I would have stood up, the paintball would have hit me in the head and not him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as a 12-year-old, you blame yourself when your cousin right next to you gets shot in the eye. But
yeah,
it always is stressful to me. And last year, I watched Hayden's tooth get shot out at the island.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest fears is eye safety, especially. It's like 90% of the other injuries you could sustain in airsoft are pretty mild and recoverable. But a hit to an eye is something that can affect you for the rest of your life. In fact, I was listening to something. So in different parts of the United States, there's different laws that this is kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. I look at a lot of law enforcement channels for information for training and all that stuff. One of the videos I was watching from another department the other day, they were clarifying, what is an acceptable use of force. And they state when you can use lethal force if somebody else is in danger of life, limb, or eyesight. And this is somewhere like in the Southeast or something in the United States. Yeah. I'd have to look it up. But that state specifically includes in their statute, like, hey, like if someone is like actively threatening to like poke someone's eye out, you can use lethal force to stop that. Like that's how big of a deal eyesight really is, though. Like if you think about it, like a permanent disfigurement or disability that could come about as a result of something as simple as like taking off your glasses. Ammon and I got talking at the beginning of the year, actually, and both of us were like, man, we like our entire lives pretty much are surrounded by things that are dangerous to our eyeballs. Between airsoft and Ammon's in construction, I'm here at the shop testing guns, building guns. A bunch of the other work that I do outside of the shop is like 90% of the time I should probably be wearing safety glasses. So we both went out and bought sets of prescription safety glasses, which we take off for the live stream. Can't see our eyes.
Glare in here.
But I want to show like everybody a prescription set of lenses right here. It says Z87.2 plus. So a good prescription set of lenses or a good safety set of lenses should always have a Z87 either 0.1 or 0.2 plus next to it. And that applies to, on these specifically, the lenses and the frames. But something to consider, this pair of glasses, I wear it all the time. You guys have probably seen me wearing them here in the shop. They look like normal glasses, but they're high coverage lenses. They also have, I can add the optional wings. Like
these ones
like
have a couple on there.
Okay. Yeah. So that you can
see that you have a side lens there, a side shield.
Yeah. So it protects your impacts from the side. Mine also come with like a gasket kit, so I can add a gasket too if I need full seal. So there's a lot of really good options for people who want to not have to play with glasses and safety protection on top of that, because that can cause some serious fogging issues. These can be treated with the anti-fog stuff that we use. These ones actually initially came with a permanent anti-fog treatment, which worked really well until it wore out from cleaning them. But just as an example for people, if you hate playing airsoft with glasses or hate having to wear contact lenses every time you play airsoft, I've traveled 8 hours to events and forgot my contact lenses. So I had to.
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that last 2 Junes ago. And had to get a completely different pair of safety glasses to go over my lenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, just something to think about. And when I travel to events, I carry these. I carry my regular glasses. I carry a pair of safety glasses that go over my regular glasses, and I carry contact lenses with regular glasses now, just in case I forget something. I've always got a pair of something. But yeah, eyesight is like, that's never something. It's one of those things that's going to degrade as you get older anyway. Take it from 3 guys that are now over 30. We
hold on.
Yeah, all 3 of us are over 30. Almost 100 years of experience right here. Your eyes are never going to improve naturally, typically. I mean, maybe there's some freaks, situation where that might happen. But yeah, take care of your eyes. That too, and your ears. Oh my gosh. I went hunting recently and up in the middle of the mountains, and I couldn't sleep at night because I get so used to the noise and everything, being in our noisy world with fans running and cars driving and whatever, that I didn't realize how bad my tinnitus is. Man, I can't sleep at night when it's quiet. When the power goes out, it's loud in my head. So take care of your ears. Like, wear safety, wear earplugs if you want to during airsoft games. We're tossing grenades and we're tossing, CO2 Thunder Bees and even just some airsoft guns are freaking loud, and it's just like, it's just block out as much of that noise as you can. I think that's another injury that people just overlook because they don't think at the time.
And there's a lot, and when it comes to like not totally cutting off your hearing, because like, yeah, you don't want to run around with your ears plugged all the time. There's a lot of affordable active noise canceling, or what is it, like the transparency headset. So I mean, you can go as cheap as some of Howard Lights. I think they start around $40 or $60, which for your ears is cheap in my opinion. Or you go super crazy and go up to like OpsCore amps, which is like $1,200. But if that's something that you are interested in, we don't usually stock those things because they are a little more expensive and most people don't really. Most people don't wear them. But if that is something you're interested in, please come talk to us. We have a lot of different options that we can get in. We've used a lot of different options over the years, so we know what works, we know what doesn't work. And so if you are interested in kind of protecting your ears a little bit more, don't hesitate to ask us. And same thing for iPro as well. We carry some pretty basic iPro options that are really, really good. If you're looking at taking that next step of comfort, clarity, vision, depth, all that kind of stuff, vision depth is not a thing. I just made that up. I'm thinking of
you're thinking night vision. Oh, field of view.
Field of view. Thank you. If you want more field of view or whatever, like there's a lot of options on the market. We've tested just about all of them. And so we'd love to help you guys find the right stuff for you if you guys are looking for some different.
Here in the shop, we generally have at least a set of the inexpensive Z-Tac electronic headphones in stock. And the other option that we typically carry in stock is the Earmores. Neither of which are going to be like my go-to recommendation, but those are the ones that I can recommend within a price point that most people are pretty happy with. So, I mean, I would strongly recommend spending some money to protect your ears and your eyes, especially the set of EarPro that I have on my helmet. I think they retail at like $350. Which
something like that, yeah,
is expensive, but in the long run, after spending a lot of different money on, different options over the years, I can honestly say those are the best ones that I found, and I love them. So,
well, the other thing too is that like you don't feel like you need to go drop $300 on your Pro. Yes, when you get into far enough and you have the financial means to do that kind of stuff,
right?
But when it comes to basic ear protection, the stuff that you find for $60-$80, more than good enough, and you can easily set those up to go directly in line to your radio and everything, and they work great. But at the same time, if you're looking to take that next step, we've got options. There's a lot of options when you start wanting to spend a little more money. So
and it's interesting, like just from a equipment handling perspective and a playing perspective. Again, YouTube algorithm, I have to be careful about how a fighting perspective. The like we've been played at the Haunted Hospital, or we played it even at the Island. This year at the Island, Joseph landed an EG-67 in my hoodie.
Yeah,
it landed in the hood of my sweater and it went off on my back.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear for an hour and a half. I was screaming at people on the field for no reason. I just couldn't hear anything. I was completely deaf.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens at the hospital where you're in a CQB setting. You're inside. You have 4 walls around you.
Yeah.
And something goes off in there, and it just echoes. And that's when it's going to be the worst, is in a CQB setting, where it's just like, wow, that was ridiculously loud.
Yeah. Oh, man. I got to tell a story again. I'm sure I've told it at least once for you guys. I was at my first American Milsim event, Copperhead. Braden was with me. But we were holding down a house for like 30, 40 minutes. And out there, houses are getting flipped, especially if you're on the line. They flip super fast. So it was kind of a big deal for us to hold it as long as we were. And eventually this like squad of like 20 dudes just stack up on the door and just chuck in like 30 or 40
geez.
About 15 grenades. Like that's a pretty accurate, about 15 grenades straight through the window or through the door. And dude, man, that was, if I was not wearing ear pro, that would have been tough.
Yeah. So I guess on top of that, we talked a little about like sprained ankle. I rolled and sprained my ankle about a month ago. It's the first time I've had issues with my ankles and knees in a while. So, and I just wasn't being careful. But again, like going back to the, like there's certain things that you need to be able to treat, like minor injuries, gashes, things like that. You should absolutely have stuff like that to take care of those types of more serious injuries. But as far as like eyesight, hearing, your teeth, and like me rolling my ankle after that, I wore boots, pretty tall, structured boots for a few weeks after that, just to kind of help my ankle recover. There's a lot of that stuff that you can wear and use to specifically prevent serious injuries, or injuries from getting worse. So we have a couple things to show you. We showed you our prescription safety glasses. That's a great option. For a lot of people with face protection, we carry these in stock. These are a great option. These are made by Lancer. It's just a generic soft-sided metal mesh mouth guards, mouth protection, face protection. Even that soft padded stuff is going to do a lot to save your cheeks from an impact. So I recommend, even if you don't use it all the time, there's definitely a time and place for that type of mask. So like you should just probably have one or have an extra one in case someone else needs one. On top of that, with the teeth, we carry the Sisu mouth guards. We sell these a lot. Actually, they just sent me an email the other day and we're like, hey, do you need to reorder? And we're like, yes, I need to reorder. We need to restock on these, but we sell them a lot because they're awesome. We were talking about like dental bills earlier. The cool thing about Sisu is that when you register your mouth guard with them online, as long as it's within that warranty period, they will cover any damage that occurs to your teeth while you're wearing it. So up to, I think on one of these, it's
one of them is 35 and one of them is 50.
Yeah, one of them is 35,000 and the other one's $50,000. So if you want to, maybe have somebody else pay for the damage to your teeth, if it happens to occur, then that's a great way of doing it, because it probably won't happen if you're wearing your mouth guard. So Trevor says, forewarning, you'll get gross BB dust in your mouth when they hit the mesh. That's true. And that's why we don't approve any type of steel mesh goggles, because when a BB hits that, it will fracture and it will send shards of BB at the equivalent velocity through that mesh into whatever's behind it.
Or all that paint that comes off the back of that mesh will shoot off into your eye as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because there is
they have that coating on it.
Paint, yeah.
And then when you're dealing with, not that, I mean, a BB to your eye is going to be catastrophic.
Yeah.
But incredibly sharp BB shards to your eye might be more catastrophic. In some ways, you're going to have not just a trauma, but you're going to have massive lacerations, and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
The great thing about all this is that every injury that I've ever seen on an airsoft field, besides some super crazy stuff, no, literally every injury I've ever seen is 100% preventable. Wearing the right equipment. I guess the things that are out of your control is stuff if you get hit with like one of the explosive tagging rounds. We can't use those anymore. But for the most part, every other injury is almost completely preventable. So wearing good eyeballs,
especially even just as simple as like being aware of your surroundings. I hesitate to even mention this because I don't want to scare people. But there was a video years back of a guy. I think he was in a different country.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, they were playing in a field that was really not safe to play on, and he was on the top of a 2-story building and was not paying attention and fell. And I think he had some pretty serious injuries to his back.
No, he walked away from that. He walked away from it. So he got super, super lucky. I think he ended up landing in some really long grass, which somehow the dude, he walked away from that one magically. But that one was a pretty bad one.
Yeah. So that he even talked about it in his videos. Like that could have been prevented if I was just paying attention to where I was and where I was going is the biggest thing.
I think probably the worst injury I've seen. I think there's 2 really bad injuries. I've seen guys get hit with tagging rounds. Not me personally seen, but like on videos and stuff. And those can be pretty bad. And so it's the 2 or 3 rounds. Those are launching. Those can give some pretty good injuries. But I think the worst one I've seen is a guy who is part of a game. He was getting like medical out. He was getting like X Factor or whatever. And he got dropped on his head. He had like 60 carrying him. He got dropped on his head and was not wearing a helmet. And so that's why you'll never see, I guess we haven't officially stated this, but we've never done carrying for any of our events. I don't see us adding that in.
I think if I'm remembering right, he was restrained. He was like so he was actually restrained. That's something that we won't ever do in airsoft unless it is something that is staged, like with actors.
For scenarios.
Having somebody who is like legitimately like an airsoft player coming to a game and being restrained and moved about by other people is like totally unsafe. And that's what happened is he had his hands tied behind his back with zip ties and 2 people on either side. And one dude tripped over his own feet and took everybody down with him. So he wasn't just falling.
That's what that was. I thought it was a 6-person carrying thing and they dropped him. No, but I think you might be right.
Yeah.
So,
but I think I agree with the whole carrying thing too. So this video is not meant to scare the wonderful mothers who bring their teenage sons out here. I guess it's more of a reassurance that we have experience with these types of things. I have experience treating these types of injuries, and we have the foreknowledge and forethought and planning in place to prevent these types of things. And so we're sharing this advice to help keep you guys from getting hurt and to hopefully dissuade any foolish decisions that might come up.
Well, I think the other thing too is that the great thing is that the rule set that we have in place, there is almost no way for you to get injured at our games. I mean, there's if you follow all the rules, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but man, you got to be trying to get hurt almost.
Yeah.
Outside of welts are part of the game. I apologize to the moms. It's part of the game. But yeah, we've never seen any serious injuries from people who are properly protected in East Idaho. And I don't expect seeing that change anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, that I like that Miriam brought that up. She's been at 2 games and has played with like a significant amount of protective equipment on. And it's like, yeah, you're going to feel a hit. But like if you're being smart about where you're going and you're wearing your eye protection, you're wearing good face protection, and you're wearing good gear, like shoes that are appropriate for the sport and all that, then you're not going to get hurt. One of the things we didn't bring out and show you, I had the thought to earlier, is gloves. I mean, like you mentioned that knuckle hit, and you're just joking about it, but like for me, like literally, I still have a knot in my middle knuckle on my right hand from like 4 months ago, where I got hit right there, and it does hurt. Like it hurts. So getting a good pair of gloves to kind of collect some of that shock before it goes into your body is really helpful.
We've got some really good gloves in stock. The Ironclad, I believe they are.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Those are awesome gloves.
We sell them faster than I can order them, which is really good. And they're good quality gloves. A lot of guys run them. We just kind of happened upon them a few months ago when we moved into this new shop and started ordering them, and we've sold them like crazy. So we'll keep getting them.
As I think about this, when I think about younger players and moms and stuff like that, I'm going to throw out that. So my 8-year-old son has played with the IA before and comes out and plays. He's got a gun that shoots 370 FPS. He takes BBs from my gun that shoots 380 FPS. He's a pretty tough kid, but I always put him in. This one's by HK Army with an anti-fog thermal lens, but like a full-on paintball mask.
We should just open that real quick.
So my opinion on, as I have done a lot of rentals and we've done birthday parties for more, minor specific birthday parties, 12-year-olds. What I have found is that Joseph's taking a long time to open this. Okay. Like a full-on actual paintball mask. What I have found with even the wire mesh masks is they don't fit an 11-year-old's face or a 12-year-old. Yeah. They're not made to fit a minor's face per se. Mm-hmm. And I full-heartedly recommend something more like this or a dye mask or something along those lines for young kids, for minors. Just because safety glasses don't fit their heads right. Masks don't fit their head right. They're made for adult dimensions. And so you try to put them on a 10-year-old, it may not fit right. And you may have he might be wearing safety glasses, but that doesn't mean you don't have a safety concern there.
Yeah. And we can get a lot of these masks too that specifically are made to fit smaller people a little bit easier than we can, like the glasses and mask combos. Plus, on top of that, the wired mesh masks are $20 a piece. A good set of, like the Pyramex iForce that we sell is $22 a piece. So you're right around $42 for a mask and glasses, which, as far as safety is concerned, that's a bargain. But for that same price, these HSTL HK Army masks, they're only $45. So for a quality paintball style mask with a double pane lens that isn't going to fog up nearly as much as just a regular pair of safety glasses, even, it's a really, really good deal.
Yeah. They're going to work well with it.
One warning I'd express to people, if you decide not to buy from us for whatever reason, make sure the paintball mask that you're looking at has all their holes are smaller than 6 millimeter.
Yeah.
Because there are paintball masks that are designed specifically for paintball, which makes sense. But they've got holes that BBs can fit through. And at that point, you're kind of defeating the purpose of it. So if you decide to buy from somewhere else, double, triple check that those holes are going to be too small for those BBs to slide through.
Yeah. Yeah. All the stuff that we sell is stuff that we've tried out and we've verified, like, does actually work with airsoft. It's not like we could just go with the cheapest option and just make as much money as possible, but we never wanted to run this company that way from the start. So everything that we sell because it's something that we can basically personally guarantee is actually going to work for you. And if it, I mean, and I'll say that with a caveat, everybody's different. And if you decide to go with something, you know, specifically because you saw somebody else use it, or even maybe you took our advice or somebody else's advice, it may not work perfectly for you. So sometimes you're going to have to try a bunch of different things to make sure that it actually works, depending on the gear, depending on your build, your size, your preference, whatever it is.
A great example is I've been using ESS crossbows for years. So they're a type of glasses. And they're awesome. They're fantastic glasses. They're probably one of my top recommendations when you want to get above that $20 to $30 price range. ESS crossbows are going to be kind of that next step up, and they are awesome. But I've got a bump on my nose right here, right where that bridge of the eyepiece goes. And they made the glasses sit a little bit higher. And I've been wearing for years. I still wear them. I'll probably still continue to wear them. But they do not fit my face quite right. And so I was actually looking at some other ones that to start trying to find something that fits my face a little bit better. But I also understand the inherent risks that I'm taking while using those. And so just because it says full seal or whatever, make sure it actually works with your face, because everyone's built a little bit different.
Yeah. Which brings up a really important point. When you're playing CQB, whether that's the hospital or wherever you're playing CQB, full seal lenses, that's a different level of closeness and impact, and you want that full seal lens.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good enough. Just even these ones, mine that have, when I play at the hospital, I go back to contacts and full seal lenses just because that's not it. And I've had BBs where I didn't have a full seal lens on, and I'll be playing and I'll get shot in the face, and then I'll look down and there's a BB rolling around in my glasses. And I'm like, I don't know how that got in here, but it's not supposed to be there. Yeah. It's one of those things that I sit the next 2 rounds out because I'm in a cold sweat and terrified. But that's only happened when I should have had full seal lenses on in a CQB setting, and I get shot from 2 feet away, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about, you look at either, again, we're going to that next price range up, right? Outside of $20, I think 70 to about 100. The ESS crossbows, they have a gasket kit. And so when you're running indoors, if you need to, you can run a gasket so it will seal across your whole entire face. And the way that gasket is built, specifically the crossbow one, it's really hard for it not to seal properly. The next level up would be an Oakley M-frame, and those also have a gasket kit. So you're getting a full seal glasses, so it actually seals against your face. And that works for most people. Unless you have a really flat nose, then you have to get probably an Asian fit glasses for those kind of things. But for the most part, those will seal against most people's faces.
Yeah. So come in and ask if you guys need advice on different gear. If you want to try a couple of things out, we usually have a few options in stock that you can try on and see how it fits. We're always happy to give you our advice. But the biggest, I guess, the number one recommendation I can make with safety equipment is, I understand working within a budget, but don't cheap out. Don't go out and buy, like the other day I saw a kid running a one of those cheap gas mask face masks, that you buy on Amazon, which
don't do it.
I think somebody asked him, like, hey, are you wearing anything under that? He's like, no, it's just the mask. And they're like, you need to wear safety glasses underneath that. Yeah. I'm glad that somebody pointed that out, because it's like they may take 1 or 2 impacts from an airsoft gun, maybe your airsoft gun, maybe not somebody else's airsoft gun.
Yeah.
And the point is that it hasn't been tested. It hasn't been approved. There's going to be differences between, the one that you buy and the one your buddy buys. They're not going to be uniform in their manufacturing. And so we can't guarantee that it's going to actually work. It may be perfectly fine, but someday it might just break and shatter and let a baby right through.
Yeah.
So don't gamble with something, especially like your eyesight, your hearing, your mouth. Just protect it. And we do have options that are within a reasonable budget for a reason. So just
if it doesn't have an ANSI stamp for iPro, don't wear it.
Yeah.
So a year ago, there's a member of EIA came to a small little private event I was doing, and he had a gas mask. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just bought this at Army Surplus." And I said, "Is it ANSI rated?" He's like, "No, but it should be fine." So we sat it out.
Yeah, it's a military grade gas mask.
I'm like, yeah, military grade gas mask from the 60s don't count. And so we sat it out. We're actually at Anthrax. We sat it out on the ground, and I shot it twice, and I busted the lenses out. Like twice, and they just completely shattered out. I'm like, and that's why you're not wearing it, because you might think you look cool, but
it's not cool to not have an eye.
Yeah.
But that's not
Today was almost the uncoolest day of your life.
Yeah. Later, he got shot in the eye on safety glasses, and it was like, well, if you'd been wearing that gas mask, we'd be having a very different discussion right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things I think whenever I'm at events, I constantly looking at people with eye pros because it's pretty easy to tell if something's rated or not for the most part. And there's sometimes where I'm like, that's a fake set of glasses. We got to double check that. I've been wrong before, but there's been a few times where it's like guys walking out with ski goggles. And it's like, is that thing stamped? It's not. You're not playing.
Yeah. It's and some stuff that you would think like military grade gas masks or set of ski goggles. You think like, oh, this is made to take like a branch hit. Like I'll be fine. It's not rated. It's not built the same for like a projectile. So
you don't see it 300 feet per second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much different energy at play there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Miriam's comment, the constant re-education is really important, which is why we're doing this video. I wish we could like tag our insurance in this and be like, hey, look, we're doing our job. People like lower our rates. Because I agree. Like it's super important to re-educate people. That's why like this will be something that we talk about, not just on a podcast. It's going to be stuff that we talk about at games all the time. So we may get kind of naggy about it, but the reason is because we don't want you to get hurt. So I'm okay with doing it. I'm okay if you think I'm annoying about it, then that's all right.
Probably doing your job. Well, guys, I think we're just about ready to wrap up here. But do you guys have any questions or comments? Or I did see one. Trevor asked about if we ran nods over the HK mask.
I was going to mention that. Let me see that mask again. So the issue with this particular mask, and why I don't think it would work with night vision, it is a pretty big mask. So if you're okay with setting your night vision goggles far away from your mask, then it probably wouldn't be an issue. But I don't believe that the visor on this. Okay, it is removable. You can remove this visor and you can wear it under a helmet or a skull cap. I can't guarantee. It depends on how your helmet fits. I know my helmet sits really low on my head. And so I have a hard time wearing anything underneath my helmet. Like the dye masks that are supposed to fit under a helmet don't really work for me.
Well, they'll fit under more like ops cores and stuff. The Team Wendy's come really, really low, so you get great protection.
Yeah.
But you can't fit paintball masks under.
Yeah, so it's going to depend on your helmet. It's going to depend on your, like, I know Trevor specifically uses an airframe. That's a higher sitting helmet for him. That may work.
Probably fine then.
So, if you ever want to try it out, Trevor, we've got a couple of these that we can definitely pop that visor off of, and you can come try it out. But it's a great option for indoors for sure. My other concern would just be the depth of the mask and how far out you'd have to, just depending on your night vision setup or whatever else you're running, you may have to make some accommodations to set that farther out, which you're going to lose some visibility. But try it out. Come by the shop and we'll throw it together and see how it works for you. But they're good masks. Definitely would recommend them. So
yeah. And again, if you guys are looking for nicer stuff, we can get nicer stuff in as well.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of options when it comes to paintball masks and things like that. We just don't sell a ton of them. But if you are interested in those things, please come talk to us because we would love to get that stuff in for you.
Yeah. And if you want to try stuff like that out, we have wire mesh mats. We have glasses. These kind of masks. These are things that we rent as well, either with the whole rental package or if you just want to rent PPE to go give it a spin before you drop. It's $40 if you want to try it for a game and see, hey, does it actually work? Is it what I want? Does it fit well? We can run that. We can run that rental for you so that you can play a game and run around with it. And it might fit in the shop, but does it fit when you're running at full speed? Yes, you can wear your glasses under those, Trevor. And I give those ones out to any rental. If I see someone with glasses at this point, I just hand them one of those masks and wear it because it's more comfortable and it's safer and it's just going to be a better option for you.
And these are not the most affordable option on the market, but once again, we don't necessarily carry the cheapest options. There are cheaper options that are still ANSI rated and everything. The reason ultimately that I decided to start ordering these in is because HK Army has a lot of replacement accessory kits for these. And so like if you use this mask up and you like wear out this foam seal on the brow or the nose, you can order replacements for really cheap. If you crack a lens somehow or scratch your lenses or they just start fogging up, so you just decide you want to get rid of them, so you have a fresh coat of anti-fog that comes from the factory with them, then you can replace those lenses for just a few bucks. So
those are things that we should start stocking.
Yeah.
Some point too. It would be nice to be able to just have full replacement kits for everything soon.
Yeah. I mean, just like that's another thing I feel like people overlook with PPE. Like if you take care of it, it will last you a long time. Just like with your airsoft guns, we carry replacement parts for airsoft guns. We carry rebuild kits for airsoft guns, specifically because those parts wear out. And this stuff is like rubbing on your face and oil and dirt all the time.
I actually just had to replace my ESS crossbow lenses after a few years. I just started looking at them and I was like, dude, there's no way these things are safe anymore. Like you could just tell that they started like fracturing and stuff. Just little micro stuff, but it's just one of those things where it's like a new lens is $20.
Yeah.
Go spend the $20 to save your eyes. If you're serious, I mean, we've already got thousands of dollars of gear. Why can't I just spend an extra $20 on keeping my lenses fresh every couple of years? I mean, you don't need to replace them every single year, but man, I'd probably look at, if you're running a crossbow or an Oakley or some kind of lens like this, I would probably replace it every 2 years. This is not official statement from any companies or anything. This is me just being like, plastic wears out, especially under UV and outside.
From a construction standpoint, there's actually some pretty specific regulations wise on something wearing out in terms of like an ANSI rated something. Like if I'm at work and I take a hit to my hard hat or I drop my hard hat from a certain height,
it needs to be replaced.
It's going in the dumpster. I'm replacing it. You get in a car accident and you have a car seat in your car. You get in at one accident. Guess what? You got to replace your car seat because it's no longer. You cannot just give blind trust into that product anymore. You need, and so I would say that applies to PPE as well.
It's like body armor. It's like if you take a hit in body armor with a real gun, like you have to replace it. Now, if you take a hit in airsoft and you're wearing body armor, you don't have to replace it. Okay. But like I wear my body armor plates when I play airsoft. Okay. But if I were to like take an actual gunshot to body armor, guess what? It's not staying in my body armor. Neither is my carrier. My carrier is going with it because it's got a hole. But it's the same principle. There's a reason, and just like any of this PPE, body armor has like a 5 to 10 year shelf life, depending on who manufactures it and what their regulations and degradation period are. So treat it the same. Replace the components that need to be replaced, and after some time, you may need to just replace it completely. So, don't skimp out on it. But like I said, there are options within a budget that we have done, a lot of research and have experience to test out all this stuff that we sell. So, Yeah, 100 years of experience right here, guys. Come on. Yeah. Anyway, I think we have talked their ears off on safety enough. We've managed to retain the attention of a few people, so thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
On that, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Appreciate it.